I'll mention some of them today because they are people committed to NPM and committed to you, committed to the future of the association, and committed to the future of the people of God we call church. I'm starting here with people because if there is one thing I'm sure of, it's this. If NPM is to continue moving forward, we have to keep building and strengthening relationships. Whether it's involving members and leaders in NPM's work, connecting with different cultural groups, or attracting potential donors, the fact is, building strong and healthy relationships is vital to NPM's future. It's how we will achieve our greatest success. And to bring that picture into focus, I've brought along an endearing item from my past. As a young boy growing up in the suburbs of Detroit, I loved toys that engaged my imagination. Have you ever been to Detroit in the middle of winter? Let me tell you, those who haven't, there's one word to describe Detroit winters: gray. The sky is gray. The roads, gray. The snow even turns gray. As a youngster, there was one particular toy that captured my imagination, and that toy has something to teach us today. Anyone remember this? Now, if you're 30 years or younger, you too probably recognize this because this is a brand new Etch-a-Sketch, still available. Amazon carries all kinds and versions of them. So this is a toy that can relate to all of us, or that we can all relate to. By twisting those two white dials, a dark line would appear on a screen and would magically draw a picture. If I didn't like what I did, turn it upside down, shake it, clean screen, a fresh slate to begin yet another creation. My mom loved the Etch-a-Sketch because it was one of the few things I did where I didn't make a mess. But here's the important part for today. What I learned all those years ago is that to really make something happen with an Etch-a-Sketch, two things are required: a vision and action. You must have an idea of what to create, and then the precision and effort and perseverance to bring that vision about. And that is exactly what we've been doing at NPM for the past 12 months. In March 2017, the NPM Board of Directors approved a focused 5-year strategic plan. This plan gave us a new vision of how NPM could look and operate. The plan offered 4 different areas of concentration that, if carefully followed, would design an outcome that more effectively served the people of God. To share some of the detail around this 5-year strategic plan, I'd like to again call upon the chair of the NPM Board of Directors, Jeremy Helms.
Thanks, Steve. He prefers to wander. I prefer to preach from the ambo. Many NPM members serve in leadership roles within this association. The Board of Directors, of course, is ultimately responsible for governance, for strategic leadership of the association. Our role as a board is to take your input as members, as owners of this association, and translate it into vision. What difference can NPM make in the world? We're blessed at NPM to have an excellent CEO and staff to manage the day-to-day work of NPM, leaving the board, therefore, to assume responsibility for strategic leadership, as Steve suggested, developing NPM's mission, planning for NPM's future. As Steve said, we've developed a multi-year strategic plan with 4 priorities: membership, leadership, finances, and planning. Having just finished the first year of our strategic plan, I am pleased to report that NPM is even stronger in these 4 areas than we were 1 year ago. And you're going to hear some details from Steve after I finish regarding our successes and our plans for the future. Membership was chosen as a priority for our association for obvious reasons. We are a membership association. We are NPM. NPM must serve its members, who in turn serve the church. It will always be a priority for NPM, delivering services to you, our members, and rallying our members around NPM's common mission. Leadership is a huge priority for our association. The board, the NPM Council, other NPM leaders are looking for ways to grow in our abilities to serve you, to lead NPM into a bright future. We are constantly examining our organizational structure, making sure that our leadership system is representative enough to serve all of you, while also being nimble enough to respond to changing dynamics in the church and our culture. Finance is obviously an important part of any organization, and NPM is no exception. I am, however, pleased to report that due to generous giving by you, our members, along with tremendous fiscal stewardship by Steve and the staff, we are stronger financially now than we were at this time last year. However, there is room for growth, of course, in our financial position, so that we can better achieve our mission and better serve you, our members. Our staff continues to aggressively seek grant funding, explore new business ventures, trim costs from our operating budget. You can be confident that your membership dues and your monetary contributions are used wisely, with great stewardship. Finally, planning is essential to the success of any organization. Through this multi-year strategic plan, NPM is able to not only react to challenges before us, but more importantly, we're able to plan for our bright future, taking a longer view with respect to planning our annual convention and other programs. Look for exciting new educational opportunities in the coming year, targeting new parts of the United States, hoping to reach new people to share in NPM's mission. Amen? Amen. I'm only able to offer a snapshot of the great success NPM has achieved in the past year and the tremendous plans we have. And as I said, Steve will be sharing more exciting details both this morning and throughout the week. But I want you to know that this board of directors is here to serve you, our members, to ensure that your vision for NPM comes alive. The NPM Council exists to represent you, the diversity of our membership, and advise us as the board. Members of the council will be leading intersection meetings this morning following the plenum talk. Those will begin at 9:30. You have all the information in your program book. If you've never been part of an intersection meeting, pick the one that's most exciting to you and make your way to that meeting and dig into what's the exciting things happening here at NPM. I would like to invite members of the NPM Council, they're all seated down front here, or they should be, they were asked to stand up so that you can identify these people. Don't be shy. Now, I want you to remain standing, not so they can keep clapping. I want you to turn around and I want you to face these people if you would do that for me. I want to say thank you to these people because of the work they do on behalf of NPM. But more importantly, I want you to see who they are, because immediately after this meeting, I want you to come down here and talk with them, talk with us, the entire board of directors, and all those members of the council who aren't going immediately to lead intersection meetings will be down here in this corner of the room. We will remain down here until we have heard all of your ideas for the future of NPM. Please come down and talk to us, and maybe even bring us another donut. That would be fantastic. Thank you, Council. You can be seated. We all have a stake in creating a bright future for NPM, and so I appreciate all of the wisdom and ideas and excitement you bring. We look forward to dialoguing with you throughout the week and throughout the next year. I'll now turn the meeting back over to Steve.
Jeremy. The sketch that was created through the strategic plan offers quite a picture. But remember, our vision is only completed through action. Let's look at some of the results of our action over the past year. In 2015, NPM showed a modest profit of a little more than $15,000. 2 years ago, NPM experienced a loss of $19,000. In 2017, NPM experienced a healthier profit of $57,000. This is a very positive turnaround. Now let's look at how you, our members, have financially supported your NPM. In the last year, we've put a lot of rigor into financial development, including the reporting of our donors. Let me show you how our major fundraising results happened year over year. If you look, 2015, 47,000 or so. 2016, 84,000, a nice bump. Last year, over 450 donors, over $130,000 raised in support of the development of NPM. That's quite an amazing increase from year to year. And while 2016 was a good year, let me show you why 2017 was so much stronger. Last year, we introduced 3 new efforts for financially supporting NPM. The Mark C. Kulik Fund for Special Projects, a revamped annual fund campaign called One NPM, and our Fostering the Art fundraiser that happens here at conventions. The result? NPM's donations increased by 54% in 2017, and donors increased by more than 21%, thanks to members like you. This is good news. We must realize, however, our financial recovery is not complete. Financial support of our association is so critical. And what does that support actually look like? It may surprise you to know that donations from individual members range from $10 to $20,000. And the truth is, every donation counts. What matters most is that we give at whatever level we can. There are many people who have been involved in our financial development. And I want to mention 3 key individuals. Mary Lynn Plaskowski has led Fostering the Art. Stephen Shad has led the One NPM financial campaign. And Ann Ketzer, who organizes the silent auction that we did not put into these figures, that last year raised nearly $12,000. She's the one who runs that entire event. Can we recognize those 3 individuals? So let's now shift our focus to membership. Look at these statistics that reveal membership over the past 16 years. If you recall from last year's talk, we had set a goal to turn the tide of declining membership and had several strategies to do so. Look at these numbers. In 2002, we stood at just over 8,900 members. From there, membership numbers declined steadily until this past year. As of June 1, 2018, our NPM membership stood at more than 5,400 members, a 6.6% increase over 2017. Again, we're headed in the right direction with new members. Not where we'd like to be yet, but it's a good start. Now let's talk about NPM leadership. Over the past year, we have made progress with the leadership of intersections and national committees. Immediately following this meeting, you have the opportunity to attend an intersection meeting of your choice. I encourage you to take a look and consider becoming involved. We also have a committed national office staff that supports everything that happens at NPM. Earlier this year, Dr. Jill Nenman became full-time as she works to support many different initiatives, including NPM publications. If you've noticed a different look online or within our print materials, Jill Nenman is the one responsible. In addition, yay, Jill. In addition, last year we recognized Dr. Gordon Truitt as the Jubilate Deo Award winner for his long-standing contribution to the church. And while Gordon moved to part-time status, managing our pastoral music magazine, he has decided that the September 2018 issue will be his last as editor. Gordon Truitt, would you please allow us to congratulate you on your retirement and thank you for all that you've done for NPM. There is one more person with us today that deserves to be introduced because he was the one, maybe he played with an Etch-a-Sketch when he was younger. He was the one who had the vision for NPM 41 years ago. Please welcome the past president and founder of NPM, Father Virgil Funk. Now let's look at planning. For many years, there have been very strong summer liturgical music programs for youth, including Music Ministry Alive, the National Catholic Youth Choir, and St. Meinrad, among others. NPM leaders were glad to support such programs, but have been concerned about lacking its own program for mentoring young pastoral musicians. Last September, after the final MMA summer program led by David Haas, 3 of our young leaders brought forward the idea for a new NPM program for youth. And just 2 weeks ago, Jess Garceau, Matt Reichert, and Zach Stachowski led NPM's inaugural One Call summer liturgical music program for youth held at St. John's University in Collegeville, Minnesota. Take a look.
I just want to say about one call, it filled my heart with joy. I loved the environment. I loved everyone there. Singing with them, playing with them, it was amazing. And we were all there because we were called to be one voice, one body, to sing God's word and praise Him. And I just can't wait and just hope to be there next year with all of you again. Peace.
All are welcome in this place. Behold love's amazing grace. All are welcome. All are welcome. Bring your hopes, bring your dreams. Mercy flows and love redeems. All are welcome. All belong. Welcome all the broken-hearted, all who sorrow and despair. You are not alone, for you are God's own. Together we sing and we proclaim. All are welcome in this place. Behold love's amazing grace. All are welcome. All are welcome.
Jess, Zach, and Matt, thank you. This is what good leadership can produce. NPM is now on the radar with mentoring youth. Combined with our first ever Emerging Leaders Institute happening here at the Baltimore Convention, NPM is now directly serving and mentoring youth into pastoral music ministry. What a tremendous achievement, and I could not be more proud. I must also reveal that the support shared by our publishers for One Call, specifically OCP, WLP, and GIA, have been beyond incredible. The generosity of our publishers is a sure sign of the collaborative support NPM receives, and not just for the One Call program. We are thrilled with our growing relationship with the publishers. In fact, all our exhibitors support NPM and demonstrate their support through action. Let me make this very clear. NPM would not be the association it is today if it were not for the financial support shared year after year by our publishers and other exhibitors. Let's take a moment to thank our exhibitors. And please make it a point to visit and financially support our exhibitors here this week. And just a note about One Call. That program had, for this inaugural year, in us pulling this together, and it wasn't me, it was the three of them and their team making it happen. That program included very few members of NPM. Imagine what next year's going to be like when we, as a membership, consider the youth, first of all, consider the responsibility we have to mentoring youth into music ministry. But when we start thinking about who we can support back in our parishes to be a part of One Call, this program was off the charts amazing. Another area of our focus on planning involves our annual convention. And the planning for the Raleigh Convention by the staff and Raleigh Core Committee has benefited from a new streamlined process. This process builds on many of the new experiences we're having this week. The theme for the Raleigh Convention is that you may be healed, drawn from the book of James, chapter 5. It will focus on the sacrament of reconciliation and the anointing of the sick, but it will go well beyond these sacraments by enhancing our understanding of healing in so many realms. And listen to some of what has already been planned. Our Tuesday keynote speaker will be Father Mike Junkus, who will share with us his amazing story of healing from Guillain-Barré syndrome. Our Wednesday plenum speaker will be Marie Monville, who was married to the man who entered the Amish schoolhouse in 2006 and shot 8 girls, killing 5 before he killed himself. She will speak to us about her journey of reconciliation for this tragic event, and also by the Amish community. Other plenum speakers are well known to our membership: Sister Judith Kubicki from Fordham University and John Flaherty from Loyola Marymount University. Mark your calendars now for July 16 through 19, 2019, for the Raleigh NPM Annual Convention. Based on your feedback that we've received over the last few years, we are reducing the convention length by 1 day. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of opportunity on that Monday before for pre-convention events, so watch for our planning. And just one more note about the Raleigh Convention. I've heard a couple of reactions or responses to, wow, Raleigh's a really small city. As we continue to move forward, our vision is going to be to land in smaller locations, smaller cities. But we don't see that as a hindrance as long as we can get to that city. If we can get to that city, we're all in favor of locating in different places than what we've done our conventions in the past. And I assure you, Raleigh has blown wide open its flight schedule. Southwest Airlines is now flying into Raleigh. Raleigh is going to be a fantastic location for next year's convention. So I would hope that all of us would consider being a part of that convention. Mark your calendars now. And with that said, if you are able to tack on a few days to get away at the front or back side of that convention, North Carolina offers amazing opportunities for mountain vistas or oceanside vacations. Okay, so these last few minutes we've produced or have produced a picture of the foundation that NPM has built over the past year. But last year I shared a very specific focus of ours: technology. Let's look at our results. Technology has grown exponentially in the past year at NPM. If you recall, we revealed that the new NPM website at last year's convention, and we put that new website up online, and it became active August 3rd. Since then, we've experienced significant growth in technology. We switched email providers to Constant Contact, provided a daily reflection during Advent, hosted by, anybody know whose voice that was in the Advent reflections? Tom Franzak from Pittsburgh. He did a great job on those, by the way. Yes, yes, thank you, Tom. And we've added new digital content, including the new Ministry Monday podcast. What about it? Ministry Monday? We are very excited about that podcast. We're continually improving the NPM planning calendar, and we'll soon be retiring our old database, allowing you to complete all membership renewals online. Now, you just heard that publicly. I just committed to that publicly. That is right around the corner. Our most recent example of digital programming comes from our relationship with Liturgy Training Publications. Together, we've created a program called The Essentials of Catholic Liturgy. This is a 3-track liturgy training program offered both at NPM conventions, we're offering it this week, and in a live virtual webinar format. Track 1 is being offered here in Baltimore and will be offered again in a 6-week virtual webinar series beginning in September. When a member completes all 3 tracks, they will receive an NPM certificate of completion of the program. And who is Essentials of Catholic Liturgy for? Any member of NPM. If we're really honest, many of us become so focused on what we do, we miss the opportunities for learning, or worse yet, we don't see ourselves as needing to learn anything more, as if we've arrived in this world of pastoral liturgy. Our liturgical education should be ongoing, because liturgy is not finite, nor a science, and therefore we always have things to learn about liturgy. Even those of us who have degrees in liturgy know that our understanding of it will change and grow as our knowledge and ability in music increases over time. And NPM has many opportunities beyond this, including the USCCB certification opportunities for lay ecclesial ministry certification. Please consider moving your craft forward, especially in this area of pastoral liturgy development. And the opportunity for the ECL is a great way to get yourself immersed back in, to move yourself forward. As many of you have surely noticed, NPM has also expanded its presence on Facebook and Twitter over the past year. This continuing technology effort has been greatly spearheaded by Amanda Bruce. Amanda, we thank you for all of your efforts and everything you're doing in this area for us. Okay, so do you know why we've come so far in the area of technology over the past year? Because many of you supported the Mark C. Kulik Fund that was created at last year's convention. That fund was designed to support new initiatives. And it virtually paid for all the new advances in technology last year. Kudos to you, members of NPM. That's why technology has grown so much in the last year. Your generosity made a huge difference in this initiative development at NPM. So before I offer more about where NPM is headed, let me share some really great news. Recently, I was contacted by Rita Thyron, the executive director of the Federation of Diocesan Liturgical Commissions. She informed me that NPM is the recipient of the 2018 Frederick R. McManus Award, the most prestigious award offered by the FDLC. Congratulate yourselves, NPM. This is big news for our association. The McManus Award recognizes an individual who, or organization which, has made significant contributions to furthering the liturgical renewal in the United States. The award will be presented at this year's FDLC National Meeting in Atlanta in October 2nd through the 4th. And again, I could not be more proud of our association. Okay, so where else are we headed in the near term? Last summer, I announced that NPM had entered into a new brand initiative that will undoubtedly more accurately define who we are as an association. I want to let you know that this process is well underway, and we will be reporting results as they are revealed. Your feedback is vital to this effort. This is, after all, an association. To that end, you've come through incredibly on 2 recent surveys. Most recently, as of today, more than 600 of you responded to a survey helping us understand what NPM means to you and the value it offers you and your faith community. In addition, nearly 500 of you responded to a survey on our publications in April. These are tremendous numbers. I may add that the information that they've produced has been very helpful. The publication survey results are being considered as we look to update the look, feel, and content of some of our regular publications and digital content, and create new content to serve you and your needs as a pastoral musician. Kathy Phelong, an accomplished writer and editor with a master's degree in theology from Notre Dame, will be leading the editorial work on pastoral music going forward. Kathy, thank you for your yes. Another key opportunity for education and formation is through our Directors of Music Ministry Division, or DMMD, and its annual Colloquium. The 2019 DMMD Colloquium will be held in San Antonio, January 14 through 16, 2019, with Father Mike Jonkis as the presenter. The theme for the Colloquium is connected to the 2019 Raleigh Convention theme, That You May Be Healed. And registration for this year's 2019 Colloquium is open. It opened last night. From now until September 4th, you can register at an early bird price of $229 per person. Look for more information about this coming Colloquium in Notebook and on the NPM website. And if you go online, it's there ready for you to view. When we consider the future of NPM, from membership to outreach, one of the most important elements of our association is NPM chapters. You saw earlier on the video. That video has been designed to give us a bit of a history for how chapters have unfolded here at NPM. But I will tell you, NPM's future is hugely grounded in the development of both existing chapters and new chapters. And you're soon going to learn more about how NPM intends to move forward with building strong chapters, stronger chapters, within dioceses across the country. If you are a member of the National Committee for Chapters, we thank you for your work. Of the 197 dioceses and archdioceses that exist across the United States, NPM currently has 72 chapters. There's still great need and opportunity for NPM chapter growth across the country. Chapters are extremely important because they reach local musicians. They offer programming in rural areas and help spread the mission of NPM. There is going to be even more energy offered for chapter growth to help move us into the future. So now let's turn to the future. One of the greatest areas of opportunity for NPM is in cultural diversity. We have taken steps and are moving in this direction. We've begun to create relationships with diverse cultural groups. In early February, I met with the Spanish-speaking community in the southwest part of the country and am working to create several new Hispanic initiatives. At the Raleigh Convention, we are partnering with OCP to create 3 evenings of Hispanic workshops off-site in 3 different parts of the Raleigh area. And by the way, the idea for this was not ours, but the core committee from the Raleigh chapter. They're the ones who came up with this idea. These workshops will be in Spanish. Finally, yes. Finally, we're working hard to create the Essentials of Catholic Worship I spoke about earlier, in collaboration with LTP, to be offered in Spanish as a virtual webinar. We have several dioceses interested in this program to help Spanish-speaking pastoral musicians better understand liturgy. Now, just 3 weeks ago, I attended the Archbishop Like Conference that meets the liturgical needs of the Black Catholic community. I want to let you know that I have returned from this conference a changed man. I am beginning to understand more fully just how ununified we are and how we can become more unified with different cultural groups. And here's a truth I spoke about last year. NPM does not reflect the face of the church today. If we are to be representative of the church, our NPM must build relationships with Black leaders and the Black church. And for that matter, the Spanish-speaking church, and the Asian church, and the Vietnamese church, and all other cultural groups that exist within our church. Amen. This is a long-term challenge that will take many years to accomplish, and we've taken some really good first steps in moving forward in cultural diversity. Members, I give you my word on this. As your president, I will not rest while there's work to be done in this area. But the work is not just mine. The work is ours. Being truly unified is not just having different cultural performances or events at our annual conventions, or using music of many different cultures represented in our convention liturgies. It's much more than that. When you look at the faces of the choirs, presiders, cantors, and readers at our NPM convention liturgies, do they represent the collective church? Further, when we sing a song from a culture different from our own, do we allow ourselves to enter into the song in the same style of worship as when that song is used in parishes of that culture? This is our challenge, because entering into a different style of worship that is unfamiliar to us is very difficult. But here's the truth. Anything less than that denies us of authentic cultural inclusion and denies us the right to call ourselves the National Association of Pastoral Musicians. So I ask you, members of NPM, are you ready? Are you ready for change? Are our souls, hearts, and minds ready for change? Until we experience an internal transformation that allows us to look at the ways in which music is prayed without judgment, we will not be one NPM. I don't know about you, but my heart was full Monday evening as I authentically praised God in an African-American style of worship. Fellow pastoral musicians, we must stop critiquing our liturgies and start authentically praising God when we gather. We must be open to other cultures, music, and ways of praising God that are not our own. We must stretch and grow, and we must change, because authentic prayer is where NPM is headed. So there's just one more future issue to discuss, and it's regarding heading west for our conventions. I heard that response. In 2020, we will be gathering, and don't get too excited, but we will be gathering in Louisville. Okay, so, which is west of DC, west of Pennsylvania, west of Ohio, right? But it's not out west. While the vast majority of our membership resides east of the Mississippi, for now it's east of the Mississippi. We're growing this membership, gang. We must head west if we're truly a national association. Yeah. However, doing a convention out west offers challenges. And here's the biggest. It's much more expensive to do a convention out west. But here's my experience. When people really value something, they work hard to find a way. If we're really going to represent the entire church and support pastoral musicians everywhere, we must head west. Whew. Okay, so I've done a lot of talking, and our Etch-a-Sketch has done a lot of etching and sketching. So what do you think? Have I made the case for a motivated membership? If so, I need you to take that motivation and put it toward building and sustaining your association. What can you do to help make our association even better? I talked about many ways in this talk of becoming more engaged, but I'd like to leave you with this one. Please support the Mark C. Kulik Fund with a donation before you leave the convention. The Kulik Fund was created not just for or because of this amazing man. We know Mark was an amazing man, and I'm looking here because Mark's wife, Joyce Kulik, is here celebrating with us, has become a member in the last 2 years, and is enormously supportive of NPM. Mark was an amazing man. Yes, let's thank her. Mark was a person of great faith and dedication to music who died far too young. Some of us caught on to supporting this fund last year, which produced great results. Let's do that again. This year, let's stretch our vision a bit. And here's why. We all know a Mark Kulik, don't we? Mark Kulik, that name is not familiar to the vast majority of us. But the name Mark Kulik represents is a metaphor of sorts of all of those people in our lives that we've lost way too soon, way too early. So I'm asking that each of us consider making a donation this year, a little bit differently, but in memory of or in honor of one of your mentors. Pray about it. And if you're able, please make a $50 donation to the Kulik Fund in memory or honor of a mentor who helped lead you into music ministry. If you can afford a larger donation, bless you. And if you can only afford a $25 donation or less, bless you too. Our association needs your support. So why am I an enormously encouraged member of NPM? Since the Ask the President button was added to the website, I've received and answered more than 500 emails from members like you. I will leave you with one that arrived from a member last September. Steve, I want to wish you well in your new position. It seems like the glory days of NPM are in the rearview mirror. And I don't envy the task that you have of trying to revitalize it. that statement caught my attention. But then, the person went on and said this. In the past, NPM has always been a great source of information, education, and hope for me. I've enjoyed a number of conventions and made some wonderful friends in the process. I pray that this organization will grow to new heights under your leadership and continue to be a source of inspiration for today's and tomorrow's pastoral musicians. That was better. Grow to new heights and be a source of inspiration for all pastoral musicians. Yep, God willing, that's where we're headed. May God bless us all, and God bless NPM. Thank you. That round of applause was for y'all. So now we're going to move forward to the next part of the members' meeting, and that is where we recognize our awards that we're handing out. And to begin this morning, I'd like to call up to the stage the president of the DMMD, Chris Riley.
Good morning, everyone. I have the distinct pleasure of presenting this year's Director of Music Ministries Division Member of the Year Award. DMMD, as you know, is a division of the Association for Responsible Parties who are the leaders in parishes, oratories, and other institutions in the fields of music, liturgy, and pastoral ministries. This annual award is presented to a DMMD member who upholds the tenets of the association and exemplifies their learned gospel values, thus embodying Christ's call to service, helping to draw the people they serve closer to God. This year, the board of the division has voted to award this honor to Henry Bauer. Hanged to many of us. Henry's is a face who will be recognizable to many NPM members. Currently, he serves as Director of Music for the Cathedral of Our Lady of Lourdes in Spokane, Washington, a position he assumed earlier this year. Before moving to Spokane, he served in several parishes in the Washington, D.C. area. Henry has served NPM in many and various ways. He was a member of the division's board of directors for 8 years, serving as certification chair, work which he continues even now, well after his term has ended, now as chair of the NPM Partner Certification Review Committee on Lay Ecclesial Ministry, as well as advising certification candidates. For the past 2 years, he has served as coordinator of the much-praised Lectionary Anthem Project. While in DC, he served on the core committee for 2 conventions, in addition to his service on the board of the DC chapter, leaving the position as chapter director when he moved to the West. As an avid traveler, Henry has led several choir tours to Europe. And if all that isn't enough for you, he is in the process of completing his doctoral dissertation in sacred music at the Catholic University of America. For those of you who know him, you know that Henry is a quiet man with a huge heart who cares about the people whom he serves and the people with whom he serves. It is a great privilege and honor for me to present the DMMD Member of the Year Award to my dear friend and colleague, Henry Bauer.
Jackie Schnickrind, if you would please come to the stage to offer the awards for Chapter of the Year and Chapter Leader of the Year.
Before I make the awards, I would just like to reiterate to you the importance of chapters in our organization. We come, we learn, we celebrate, but the next step is taking it home to the individual parishes. And that's really what our video was about today, is taking that home. And for some of us, coming here is enough, but it really isn't. You have to take it home. And I got a little nervous. That kind of surprised me. But we're like the apostles in Jesus Christ. And in my life, I've had a few troubles, and I bet you have too. But the Catholic liturgy has always given me hope, and that's what's brought me through. That's what we can do with our chapters. If you don't have a chapter in your diocese, come between 4:30 and 5:30 to the Johnson Room, and we'll show you how. If your chapter is faltering, come, we'll show you how. Because that person in the pew, as Virgil Funk used to quote from the documents, good liturgy fosters faith, and poor liturgy can destroy faith. So we do need our chapters. Please come this afternoon at 4:30. Now, we have a wonderful project on our committee led by Mary Baudouin, and we're targeting 20 dioceses with the largest number of national members. And it's kind of like we're going after you. But if you would rather come this afternoon between 4:30 and 5, it'll save us that step. But I bet you're sitting on the edges of your seats wondering who they are. It's Bellevue, Illinois, Springfield, Illinois, Atlanta, Georgia, Owensboro, Kentucky, Covington, Kentucky, Monterey, California, Colorado Springs, Colorado, and Charlotte, North Carolina, Tucson, Arizona, St. Augustine, Florida, Savannah, Georgia, Little Rock, Arkansas, Brownsville, Texas, Lafayette, Indiana, Lafayette, Louisiana, and Syracuse, New York, Portland, Oregon, Kalamazoo, Michigan, St. Cloud, Minnesota, and Cheyenne, Wyoming. You think you have problems? You wonder how many dioceses do they have in Wyoming? You want to guess? One. One of your cities on this list said we can't have a chapter because it's too hard to drive across town. Have you ever driven through Wyoming? Goes on forever. But they're trying. Before we do the awards, we have made some steps with some dioceses, and if I mention your name and you're from this new chapter, please stand up and we'll applaud for you at the end. In Kansas City, Kansas, we have a permanent chapter director Maureen Hermanson. So if you're from Kansas City, Kansas, stand up. And I've been after Father Tim Bessert for years, since I gave him a ride to the airport. And you don't want to see me coming. in Saginaw, Michigan, and we have a temporary chapter in Saginaw, and it is led by Marilyn Zank. Saginaw, stand up. We thought we were doing very well when we got a chapter in New York City, and then Chicago came through. There was only one of the 3 major cities in our country, and Los Angeles has been revived this year through Joseph Baziuros. And so LA, stand up. We are delighted in Northern California to add Oakland, and that's Jeanette Hancock. If you're from Oakland, stand up. And our newest temporary chapter is from Des Moines, Iowa, and that's Angie Murphy. So if you're from Des Moines, stand up. So we're making some progress with chapters, and if you want to get on board, 4:30 to 5 in the Johnson meeting room at the Hilton. It's my honor, a great honor, to acknowledge our chapter leader of the year award. I have known Stephen Bird for a very, very long time. He was ordained in 1976. Shortly after, in Oklahoma City, they made him in charge of the Office of Worship and Spiritual Life, and it stuck. He still is in charge of that many years later. In the mid-'80s, he became the chapter director in Oklahoma City, and he does a unique combination of the Office of Worship and the chapter. In that, he has also done some interdenominational things, and ecumenism has been a delightful result. He has brought in a presence of NPM to Oklahoma, and he spreads it wherever he goes. And you guys look at Raleigh, North Carolina. Oklahoma is a long way away. But there are 12 that have come to this convention from Oklahoma City, and that's due to Father Stephen Bird. If you were at the Basilica last night, did you notice that young man who is in charge of the music at the Basilica? He is a protege of Father Stephen Bird from Oklahoma City. He's the president of the Oklahoma Alliance for Liturgy and the Arts, the recipient of the Southwest Liturgical Conference Faithful Servant Award, as well as being their past president. So I would like to present the chapter leader of the award to Father Stephen Bird, dynamic liturgist, pastoral musician, mentor of souls, and my good friend, Father Stephen Bird. Now, when I was growing up and I was learning about Pittsburgh, I thought it was all about Andrew Carnegie and U.S. Steel. Then in 1999, Rick Gabala said, we're starting this council of chapters. So he got a bunch of us together to start, and we came to the conclusion that NPM is really all about Pittsburgh. It's just the names. Tom Staley, Rick Gabala, John Romeri, Jim Chapanis, John Miller, Herb Dillahunt, Mary Lynn Plaskowski, and it goes on and on and on. Well, it hasn't changed. The chapter of the year this year is Pittsburgh. Now they have a bundle of problems in Pittsburgh. They're going from, listen to this, 188 parishes down to 57. That's tough stuff. Their chapter is working with the lay ecclesial ministry to collaborate through the pain of these closures. My chapter meets 4 times a year, and we think that's great. They meet monthly. They also have district liaisons who are a communication team and take it out to their diocese. They have a technology director who creates webinars for their members. They have fantastic programs, and if you don't believe me, go to their website. Their membership is growing. They have expanded to include choristers, cantors, organists, guitarists, directors of music. They have a DMMD chapter within their chapter, and they meet 2 to 3 times a year. They have a monthly prayer list, and get this, they have a YouTube channel, and they put their meetings on that for the members who can't attend. We should all be so lucky. So the NPM chapter of the year for 2018, mother of strong leaders, teacher of pastoral musicians, proclaiming the glory of God. Kevin Maurer, please come forward.
So next, we're going to introduce our Pastoral Musician of the Year. And to do so, which one of the 2 of you is it? Sister Kathy, would you come on up?
Actually, I would like the award winner to come up here now. Ricky Manalo, would you please come up now? Ricky Manalo, Paulist priest, liturgical composer, scholar, pastoral leader. He is well known for pioneering and popularizing Asian Catholic music in the United States. He's also well known for his scholarly and pastoral work on the interface between liturgy and culture, liturgical music and culture, and on the necessity for and ways to achieve intercultural communication. His course offered at the Franciscan School of Theology, the course titled Asian Liturgies and Devotions, was the first time a topic, that particular topic, was dealt with in a United States theological institution. Ricky is currently a main facilitator for the Cultural Orientation Program for international ministers and priests offered out of Loyola Marymount University. He is currently the theologian consultor for a steering committee of the USCCB, which is creating a national pastoral plan for the U.S., Asian, and Pacific Catholic community. Ricky has served on the NPM Board of Directors. He has been a frequent presenter at our conventions. His mega breakout yesterday showed us that he continues to be on the cutting edge of the interface between culture and liturgy. Ricky is an award-winning composer and author. His contributions to liturgy, liturgical music, and liturgical enculturation is enormous, significant, and ongoing. It is my honor and my pleasure to present to this gifted man who is immensely humble the NPM Pastoral Musician of the Year Award.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Kathleen. I've been given the opportunity, and thank you, Steve, and the members of the board, and all of you who are here this morning. So I was given the opportunity to speak, but after that, I don't want to speak. But 5 days ago, as I was boarding, I was waiting online, ready to board the plane from San Francisco to Baltimore, I felt a tap on my shoulder, and it was Dan Schutte. And we surprisingly found out that we would be sitting with each other for this 5-hour trip to Baltimore. And during the first half of that plane ride, I began to think about all the various diverse composers who have influenced my life. And in addition to Dan, I thought about David Haas, Michael Jonkis, Jim Chaponis, Marty Hagen, Bernadette Farrell, and Bob Hurd, and the list goes on, and I know I'm going to leave out so many people. But that quickly then turned to particular friends, wonderful friends, who somehow are connected to this award. And that includes my dear friend Jerry Chirzano, Rufino Zaragoza, Father Ron Brassard, Paul Cesarovsky, to just name a few. And as I was writing all these down, I had the other half of the trip, I realized I was really creating these families within families and communities within communities. There were 4 that came to mind, and I'll just say these 4 and then end this talk. First and foremost is my own family. My mother, who is somewhere here with my brother, she introduced me to God. She mediated God to me by teaching all 6 children the rosary, which we had to pray 365 days a year for 10 years. I am in this Filipino household. And if my mother introduced us to God, it was my father, who passed away 1.5 years ago, who would love to have been here, who introduced us, all of us, to the great composers of Western classical music. And both of whom are first-generation immigrants. My father was able to become a doctor, and as a result, I was privileged to have been able to study in 2 conservatories in New York City. The second family, my Paulist father's community. Actually, when I began to compose music, I was a conventual Franciscan seminarian in Ellicott City, not so far away from here. But it was the Paulist community who truly embraced my gifts, who allowed an artist to do his craft within a community of clergy. And I am particularly thankful to Father Frank DiCiano, who is also present here, who was the acting president at the time. The third family, OCP. Oregon Catholic Press. And actually, the first 5 songs that were published of mine were through GIA. So I want to thank GIA for initiating me into this world of publication, of liturgical music publication. But it was OCP that truly embraced my vision, that allowed me to explore Asian American music, that allowed me to explore other genres, various styles of music that I want to believe I write in, and not just one, but many different styles, particularly under the leadership of John Lim. Thank you for John Lim, if you are here. And finally, the last family, NPM. Now, if you follow me in Facebook, you will know that I travel throughout the world, from Amsterdam to Singapore, the Philippines, from Abu Dhabi, Dubai, to Kenya just last week. And if you were to accompany me throughout those trips, you would quickly realize how spoiled we are, that we have NPM in our backyard, because most countries and territories that I've been to do not have the same expansive quality of formation that NPM offers. And so with that, and to that extent, I want to thank Father Virgil Funk, Mike McMahon, under whom I served as a board member, Monsignor Rick Kilgartner, who gave me the happy announcement that I'll be receiving this award, and Steve Petronak, after that wonderful first hour, upon whom we place all our dreams and our hopes. And of course, and knowing, as I hope he was clear, that we join Steve with this new vision that will be emerging within the next few years. Lastly, of course, I want to thank all of you for continuing to sing not my songs, but I pray, I hope it's not so much my songs, but God's, but all of these songs belong to God, as my mother taught me. And I pray that I'll continue to respond to God's grace, and that all of us will continue to praise God through the gift, through the gifts, and through the art of sung liturgy. Thank you, and God bless.
And now to present the Jubilate Deo Award winner, our chair of the Board of Directors, Jeremy Helms.
The Jubilate Deo Award is the highest award given by NPM, awarded by our Board of Directors only to true giants, to those men and women who make the most significant contributions to the liturgical life of the Church in the United States. Father Columba Kelly was a Benedictine monk of the Archabbey of St. Meinrad, not too far from where I live in the Midwest. Father Columba was truly such a giant. The musical landscape of the Church in the United States, and dare I say worldwide, would look quite different were it not for this fine musician and disciple. Having studied theology in Rome, Father Columba earned a doctorate in sacred music, studying chant with those who gave birth to the Salem method. And for over 50 years, Father Columba served as choir master at St. Meinrad, teaching young monks and lay people how to sing the native music of the Church. Father Columba led the way in recovering our medieval chant tradition, leading us in singing it with great respect for the text. The words of sacred scripture come alive in this simple yet elegant musical form that Columba taught his whole life. Of course, the Church is still raw with grief at the death of Father Columba. He left us about 1 month ago, on June 9th, and according to his brothers at the Abbey, during his afternoon nap, at the age of 87, he simply fell asleep. I know that his Benedictine community misses him terribly. We at NPM miss him terribly. We are blessed, however, to have one of Columba's confreres, Father Jeremy King, to accept this award, which we will present posthumously. And I can think of no better day on which to present this honor than on the memorial of St. Benedict himself. So on behalf of the Board of Directors, on behalf of the entire National Association of Pastoral Musicians, I now present the 2018 Jubilate Deo Award to Benedictine Father Columba Kelly.
I want to thank all of you, members of the National Association of Pastoral Musicians, and especially the board, for the invitation to accept the Jubilate Deo Award on behalf of my recently departed confrere, Father Columba Kelly. And again, on this feast of St. Benedict, we celebrate it as a feast. Archbishop Kurt and my brothers at St. Meinrad also send their appreciation for this honor. For Father Columba was not only a fine musician, but he was an exemplary monk. Up to the day he died, he rarely missed 1 hour of divine office or the celebration of the Eucharist, and as Jeremy reported, he died on his feast day. He decided to take a nap, and God blessed him with eternal rest. My first experience with Father Columba was when he returned from Rome with his doctorate from Musica Sacra. Archbishop Bonaventure sent him to study chant after his ordination in 1958, and while he was in Rome, the most momentous event in the 20th century for the Roman Catholic Church took place, the Second Vatican Council. When I was a freshman in our seminary college in 1965, Columba taught a required history of music course. One of the required texts to be read was his doctoral dissertation. It was titled, "The Cursive Torculus Design in the Codex St. Gall 359 and Its Rhythmical Significance, a Paleographical and Semiological Study." 800 pages of pure scholarship at 10 cents a page. You can imagine how all of us guys were hesitating to put it down until we finished it. Columba said when he came back and was appointed choir master, he was handed a manila folder with some handwritten instructions about some minor changes in the liturgy, all already being implemented even before the Second Vatican Council closed. And the rest is history. On the Solemnity of the Ascension in 2017, we commemorated the 50th anniversary of singing the English office for the first time in our Archabbey Church, by singing the very same antiphons that Columba wrote in 1967. They have proven the test of time. Father Columba was one of the best and most humble monks I have ever known. Don't get me wrong, if you pushed the right buttons, you had to be prepared for a lecture. He was a quiet man, but when given a chance, he was not at a loss for a paragraph about anything from liturgy, chant, to almost any sport. Columba grew up on a farm as an only child in Williamsburg, Iowa. And we, as freshmen, said he looked like Clark Kent. We would never have imagined that, like his comic book parallel, Columba Kelly, or John Kelly, would become a superhero as one of the chant masters of the universe.
In 2005, Columba asked me to represent him at a pre-NPM convention meeting in Milwaukee when the first meeting of what is now the Chant Committee of this organization was held. He was scheduled to teach a course at the Abbey of Salem in France that same week and obviously couldn't be at both events. When I returned to St. Meinrad, I told him it was good that he was not there, because if there had been one more eccentric musicologist in that room, there might have been bloodshed. For they were all in the same book, or should I say Liber, but on very different pages. Columba's chants have been acclaimed some of the best English plainsong ever written. While his interpretation of how chant, both Latin and English, is to be sung continues to be somewhat controversial, his compositions have been widely disseminated by various publishers, Paraclete Press, GIA, and most recently, Oregon Catholic Press, and are being sung in religious houses and English-speaking parishes in this country and other places around the world. He composed most, but not all, of the St. Meinrad psalm tones, some of which were used this morning at our communal morning prayer. It is an honor that they were used today and in so many places of worship. Father Columba will be missed by our community at St. Meinrad, and I know some of you came to love and cherish not only his work for the church, but also for him himself. His spirit will live on at St. Meinrad at each hour our community gathers for the liturgy, for we cannot make music without using what he cooked up for us. Once again, I want to thank all of you for this honor. May we continue to cherish all forms of liturgical music and be grateful for all the women and men who contribute to us making a joyful noise. Jubilate Deo.
So would Elizabeth Doan, Christelle Pring, Brandon Vogt, and Stephen Rumler please make your way up to the stage. NPM has offered 9 academic scholarships this past year and 13 full-paid program scholarships to our convention, 1 program scholarship to the Guitar and Ensemble Institute, and $3,500 of support for various members who came to the One Call program that we just had for youth. Our academic winners of scholarships this year, of them, we have 4 that are present with us today. Elizabeth Doan is the winner of the NPM's member scholarship. Christelle, am I saying that right? Christelle Pring is the recipient of the OCP scholarship. Brandon Vogt, the GIA Pastoral Musician Scholarship, and Stephen Rumler, the Funk Family Memorial Scholarship. Please give them a round of applause. Elizabeth, Christelle, Brandon, and congratulations to you. Congratulations. We are very proud to be supporting in our academic and program scholarships recipients from year to year, and we just encourage you to continue to support these initiatives through our program scholarships, especially through the collection that will take place at tomorrow's liturgy, as well as the Lenten Appeal Scholarship that goes on. So thank you very much for being here and for being the recipients this year. This is terrific. Okay, so we're a few minutes behind. We're going to tack on 10 minutes to the schedule. Please make your way to an intersection. Intersection leaders, you need to bolt. And we'll just keep your full hour there. Just steal some time at the end. Thank you for your participation here today.